Hello, everybody. Hi, Jean. How are you?
Hello there. Good again, Morten. Nice to see you.
Yes, nice to see you too. And we have a wonderful number of speakers here. So, Broad, Lisa, everybody, turn on your cameras and sound. We want to see you guys, right?
And I have to say, a vibrant group of presenters, which is great.
This is just wonderful. So before we get started, we use this little 5-10 minutes for people to get on site, and we also use time to present each other. And before we do that, I just want to compliment you for a really excellent title for this event. Don't get left at the station. And also, when I look at your presentation, where you use that so consequently in everything, I think it's just fantastic and great. And I can't help think about, we invited quite a few paper suppliers to participate in this event. And you were the only one that actually accepted the invite and chose to be part of this. Is it just because Mondi is the fastest and smartest people on the earth? What do you think, Lisa?
I would say we see ourselves as partners to the industry and partners to anyone who is printing inkjet, and that's why we see that we have a lot to offer in knowledge-wise, product-wise. So that's why we are here today.
Great answer.
And Thomas, if you extend on this what Lisa just said, being smart, I think I have a passion for paper. That I have to admit that. And one of the things that I really don't understand from a PSP perspective, sometimes that papers is seen as not as important as the machines and the finishing and all these wonderful things. But actually, if you look at the pure cost of a printed product, I think that paper accounts for the most anyway, right? So is this an opportunity moving into the inkjet space? Is that an opportunity as you are very focused on this segment as well? Is this something that you see as a huge business opportunity for you guys?
At the end, and I think that is what we discussed before we met here, is when we had the presentations yesterday of the OEMs, where everything is technical and speeds and drying and ink technologies kind of stuff. At the end, all is fine, but you don't have the right substrate. You don't get anything out of it, of this great investment in that kind of stuff. So I think it is really worth looking into the substrates you're printing on. And yes, there's big discussions with you can run on any stock and something like that. But I think a high-speed inkjet paper, specialized paper, brings a lot of value into the complete world, into the complete offering of a printer to their customers in terms of what kind of quality is achievable, how fast can you do it, how quick can you dry it and finish it, and this kind of stuff. And here, high-speed inkjet papers is still, or will play a big and important role also in the future. And that's why we think it's also important to show to customers, prospects, that it's not only technology you're putting into your printing room, it's also the paper you have to work with and you have to take in consideration.
And Broad, is it Broad? How you pronounce your name, Broad?
Yeah, correct.
Okay, good. Yeah, and I was just thinking, because I have seen your name in some of the events during the past days here. And we spoke to Kodak, and we also spoke to, and they had the reason why I mentioned them is because they have Jennifer Pennington, who is a paper scientist specialist with them. I think
just by the way, her name, they call her Jen Penn.
Okay, Jen Penn. Okay.
I wish I knew that yesterday. Sorry, Jen.
Okay. I was just thinking, Broad, that the collaboration between a paper supplier, a manufacturer, and all these press manufacturers must be extremely important in order to make sure that the ink formulas matches the paper formulas and make sure that you can get the highest possible output. How close is that relation in from your perspective and how you operate?
Well, I think first of all, if we're going to go with Jen Penn, then you can call me B Rod. Okay, so we'll go street ball. Okay, but I think in answer to your question, Morten, I think look, the partnership between the paper manufacturer and the OEM for me is important, and if we're working close together, then we will get the best result for the customer and the customer's customer. I've been around print for 43 years, so I've put ink on it, I've sold it, I've made it, whatever you want to do with it. I've yet to see a piece of printed work that doesn't have a substrate. You know, just a machine and workflows and ink doesn't give you what you want. So you have to have a substrate, otherwise print doesn't come to life. Whether it's ours or somebody else's, well, that's your choice. But
B-Rod, I just have to finish this one, Jean. So B-Rod, I just want to say that you're not easy to fool, right? Because if you have been in 43 years in this industry and you've realized that you need some kind of substrate to print on, smart move.
it's all up there. But when the people don't talk about it and they talk about everything but the substrate, does make me wonder whether they actually realize that if you spend a little bit of time and effort understanding that, then you will get a better result at the end.
So I went to the same training school as Thomas, and as I said to you guys earlier, that one of the things that kind of got drummed into us was Inkjet is all about the paper. And are you still, I mean, this is quite a few years down the line, are you still finding that vendors feel this way, or has everybody got magic formulas and magic inks now that, guess what, the substrate's not a big deal?
But it depends, Gina, on what you're prepared to compromise on, you know? So you can run any substrate on most of these newer machines with newer inks, but then you have to compromise sometimes on the speed. Or you have to compromise on the drying. We talked about it yesterday, about the amount of energy that you put through the machine to dry some of these products. Now, if that's what you're prepared to compromise on, then it's not for Mondi to say they're right or wrong. The issue that you've got, and I think it was Screen that said, there's so much capacity in the market. If we didn't sell any more machines this year, it would be okay still. So it's absolutely fine to run your machine 8 hours a day or 10 hours a day or half speed. But as more and more work comes onto this machine and you're now full, how are you going to optimize the machine? You either got to up the speed, which decreases, so you've got to decrease drying to up the speed, or you've got to invest another 3.5 million to buy another piece of kit to run at half the speed. So at some point, inkjet paper and drying and all of that total cost of ownership will come back on the table. I'm absolutely convinced of it.
From a paper manufacturing perspective, how difficult is inkjet in that perspective? I mean, because one thing is speed and another thing is quality, but I mean, the paper industry has existed for many, many years. And I know there's, of course, a lot of technical developments in the paper industry as well. But how difficult is the inkjet from a paper manufacturer's perspective?
Lisa, do you want to give a stab at that?
Yeah, I think when we first started about 11 years ago, we weren't the first ones, but we started more than 10 years ago. It was a long path to get there. I was also part of the development team, product development team when we first started, and it was in the beginning it was hard, but then as Rod already said, we were working with, or we were working and are still working a lot together with the OEMs. So it's a journey what we have made together with the machine manufacturers.
But I still, maybe I didn't hear you right. I think I did, but I was just thinking that, you know, when I have unfortunately never been on a paper mill, though I have been at so many different processes in the printing industry. But I would love to come and see that. Yeah, but what I wanted to, I mean, you know, if I say it from a layman's perspective, I see some wood being chopped, I see it being boiled, I see some paper coming out of it. And that process is, of course, exaggerated 100%. But I was just thinking that does inkjet requires a finer structure to the paper? Does it need other chemicals in the manufacturing process, or what? How difficult is it to actually make it work? I mean, let's say that today we have a lot of wonderful vendors bragging about how fast the machines are. And you have to keep up pace-wise in order to make sure that it can actually fit on the paper and look nice. And I was just wondering, I mean, what kind of technology does it take to get into something where it is like, wow, we got it now?
Yeah, we are going to go to that in our presentation later.
Perfect.
So.
Okay, I will be patient and then sit in and watch it. Before we go on to your presentation, I just want to ask you a question, which is like this session here, which is for me a very important session. That is actually one of the sessions that not so many people signed up for. For example, yesterday we had with the Curious Sierra session, there was more than 280 people and in that show. And today we have do you think that it reflects also how PSPs to some extent see the value of the paper, or I want to help changing that, and we will get a lot of replays, I know that, so don't worry about that. But I was just thinking, that is the communication about paper in to the PSPs, is that a big challenge for you guys?
That
was
basically, it all starts. Sorry, Brod. It all starts with, if you're looking on the marketing machines of those OEMs, something like that, and they're going out saying, hey, you can print on anything, and then that is bringing the printers to the place saying, okay, let's have a look on Kyocera, let's have a look on HP, because they're already working with paper. For them, the new thing is the technology and the inkjet, and then you got the argumentation, and now you can print on everything, listen to that. So they're curious. They want to look into that and want to get some information on that. I think when they made a decision to invest or to go with this machine, then, and perhaps that is too late somehow, then they're thinking about substrates or applications or end customers they want to address.
So it has something to do with where in the chain we are, basically. So when they have invested in the machine, then they have to look into it.
Yeah, so isn't that an opportunity for you to get out there and go, hey, we're here, and before you even start that process, because this is a key. And from a financial point of view, selecting a press with a range of substrates could, I mean, sometimes the paper and the cost of testing and all the things you have to do to get a substrate that suits is more expensive than the press.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
And that is where we also take this opportunity in here to say, hey, when you think about that, paper is still very important.
Oh, key. Yeah. So should we dig into the presentation? The way it works, Jean and I, we will turn off the camera and sound, and then, but we will be listening to you all the time, and then we can have a Q&A afterwards. Does that work for you?
Okay, super.
Yeah.
Okay. And if you need help, you just tell us, right? Oh, you're already there.
Okay. So I'll start off the presentation. And good afternoon to everybody that's joined us. Thank you for joining us. And what will hopefully be the start of a journey that we can all benefit from. So today you've got myself, as we've spoken earlier, Brod Geary, and I head up the high-speed inkjet team on a global basis. We have two international business developers with us, Lisa Olsen and Thomas Wimmer. And we're happy to take any questions in the chat or afterwards or however you want to do it. So let's get underway with some of the slides. I want to guide you through some topics today, which will cover both reel-fed and sheet-fed presses and the papers for those, and also what you can expect from us as a team in terms of support. There are a couple of testimonials from customers out in the USA who we've snipped the video down, but it just explains why they've chosen Mondi, and it's not always just the paper, it's other things, but why they've chosen Mondi and why they've chosen their specific papers, and it's in their words as well. So for those of you online today that don't know Mondi, I'll give you a very quick look, and I mean a really quick look at what we do. So just for some comfort here, Mondi are a global player. They hold a leading position in both packaging and paper, producing uncoated paper. Important that we're uncoated paper manufacturers. We make high-speed inkjet papers predominantly in our Austrian mills, and then they are shipped and sold all over the world out of our Austrian mill. Financially, and again, this is important, especially in the last 12 months that we've had in the world, financially, we are extremely healthy. That allows us to invest heavily in the inkjet market, not only now, but also in the future. And we are currently number one in uncoated fine papers in both Europe and South Africa. From a multiple mills perspective, if you can click on, Sarah, to the next slide, thank you. We're based out in Russia, we're in Slovakia, we're in Austria, as I've said, and South Africa, and we ship global. We have full support teams in both research and development and in colour management. Lisa Olsen's with us today. She heads up colour management, and a rich history of the mill going back over 200 years. We like to think we know what we're doing. We also have one of the largest portfolios, uncoated portfolios on offer, and that covers all aspects from whites to tints, inkjet to recycled, and digital papers to design papers. So let me, if you can click on again, Sarah, and what I'll do now is I'll hand you over. So I said it would be very quick, but it just gives you a view of Mondi. Let me click over to Lisa, who will then take you through the next steps of the train journey. Lisa, if you're on, I can see you. I'm going to take my video off so it's not confusing. And I'll leave the slides with you.
Thank you, Broad. I'd like us to stop for a while to the next station, which is reel-fed inkjet. Majority of the inkjet systems out there at the marketplace are reel-fed at the moment, and that's where we find also the widest variety of substrates. We will also have later the opportunity to listen to our customer, Johnson and Quin, of how they see the substrate landscape. The first 3 days or 3.5 days of Learn with us certainly have told you that inkjet is the future, and it is the printing technology for personalization in full color in high speed. You may get the impression that this high-speed technology isn't that easy to deal with. However, with the right substrates, it gets much easier. We at Mondi are very proud of our range of papers. Our philosophy is to make papers available for our customers, which work well in a range of inks and presses. Neujet is our best-in-class paper with wide range of basis weights and qualities, partly also a very specific pigmentized surface to enhance the print result. Many of you may have heard about DNS high-speed inkjet or DNS product family, and hopefully also some of our users. This is the first product we introduced back in 2011, but have been developing it further during the years. And a sustainable offering you can find in recycled papers. Nautilus is our recycled paper range, and our beautiful off-white Biodot 3. Let's have a look at the different categories a bit more in detail. And starting from the bottom are our hybrid papers. And when we are talking about hybrid papers, they mean that they can be used in various different printing technologies. So this is, of course, a benefit if you or your printer have various technologies on the shop floor. So you can and prefer to use the same paper throughout. This segment is perfect for black and white and light color applications in inkjet. You find here several products for transactional print like DNS Premium or Nautilus Super White. And the interesting thing as well is that most of them are available also in cut sheet, but let's save that for a bit later. For book printing, the last product we have there, we introduced last year Graphic Ivory Rough, which has setting its mark also in inkjet already. The next segment would be fully inkjet treated papers like DNS high-speed inkjet NF or CF. They are perfect for transactional with a bit more color, for direct mail, for books, for manuals, and the application possibilities are extremely versatile for this group of papers. Neujet range is our pride, and here we have put really all our know-how to make papers perfect for highest quality expectations on wide variety of inkjet presses. These papers enable you to reach offset-like quality without any primers or optimizers, and we are happy to support you to choose the optimal paper for your ink press and application combination. All our papers are produced using pulp from sustainable sources, and they come either with FSC or PEFC certifications, and the EU Ecolabel is also a given. If you are interested to learn more about sustainability, I invite you to download our white paper on the topic. It's fresh from the press digitally. We will provide you the link in the end. And additionally, in order to support you in effectivizing your production, our reels are always join-free. So much variety. So you may ask yourselves, do I need all this? Let our customer from Johnson & Quin in USA, producing mainly direct mail on a screen press, tell us about how they approach their customer expectations with help of various substrates. Here's Bob Akima from Johnson & Quin.
And really what it came down to, it's really a combination of all of them, where, you know, we look at the application when we have an opportunity to look at a job, and depending upon what the expectations of the customer are and what their current piece looks like, you know, Mondi really offers us a nice advantage because, you know we have commodity offset if the color, you know, requirements are very low, and we can just run it on commodity offset. Lots to choose from there. And we do have a large portion of our jobs that go on that. But the nice thing with Mondi is really, you know, we'll call that kind of our low. Just commodity offsets kind of our low quality requirements. But then with Mondi, it's nice because we've got a medium and a high. And basically the way we've approached it, if there's a quality requirement that is, you know, the expectations are a little bit above what people are going to want to see on commodity offset, but not all the way where there's these really high expectations and there's flesh tones and things like that, then we use DNS. And DNS, you know, is a nice option because, yes, it costs a little more than commodity offset, but certainly from an affordability perspective is great. And again, the quality of the print, there's a substantial improvement when you go to DNS over regular commodity offset. Then we've got kind of our high end where we have very high end requirements. And with that, we go to Neujet. And, you know, these stocks come in a variety of weights and finishes. And again, it's nice because with it, you know, all within the Mondi family there, we're basically be able to meet the needs of our clients. And really, we've done a lot of projects over the last 6 years and continue to do a lot. And really, with those three options, kind of the low, medium, high, with Mondi occupying our medium and high, we're really able to meet all the objectives that our customers have. And, you know, one of the really nice things about Inkjet that we found is that, you know, with Inkjet, when you first start talking to a client and if they have any quality concerns, one of the great things is send a high-res PDF. We'll run it on several different stocks. You know, if you want, we'll give you a low, medium, high. We'll run it on commodity offset. We'll run it on DNS, and we'll run it on Neujet. We'll send you samples of all of those. It's the exact paper. It's the exact press it's going to run on. And then, you know, you can decide which one based on price and quality kind of fits your needs.
We learned now that the printer gives the end customer a choice. He gives the choice of low, medium, and high quality. Johnson & Quin chose DNS high-speed inkjet CF for their medium application, medium quality applications, and Inkjet Matte for the highest. This customer case also nicely shows the importance that you need to be near to your end customer and be able to consult him of when he's thinking about different substrates. Let's now dig a bit deeper why papers are different and why does the result doesn't always look the same. Why is paper A different to paper B? So where's the magic? How do paper producers, that coming to your question, Morten, how do they design the papers to work better in inkjet? There are more and more printing systems out there which claim that printing on any substrate is possible. However, it makes sense to check it a bit more in detail. You may find that various papers do not give only the different print result, but also perform differently in terms of print speed, dry efficiency, and ink usage. All factors which can be translated to euros, crowns, or pounds. So let's start with colorfulness and brightness of colors. Paper makers are adding specific surface chemicals to immobilize the ink particles and keep them on the surface of the paper. Our example here shows the difference in print density of a Inkjet Silk Premium against the other segments, all down to non-treated papers. The second factor are the absorption properties. So how does the paper absorb the liquid medium, which is mainly water in water-based inkjet, which we are talking today, but also can be other chemicals. This has direct impact on that, how quickly the print dries. It makes a difference if you want to run with full speed of your press. Not to underestimate also the need of energy needed for the dryers if a slowly drying paper substrate is used. Generally said, an inkjet treated paper dries quicker and does not leave any stains to the press. As a last piece of magic, we paper makers add specific chemicals and pigments to enhance the color gamut, and they are normally added on the surface of the paper. So that's what we have built into the papers, but that's not all. With our inkjet expertise, as mentioned already, more than 10 years, we have helped more than 400 customers all over the world and step into inkjet and grow there. We have a team of color managers who can help you with fine-tuning of the paper ink and press combination. They will either find the most economical way of running the job, or alternatively, best possible print quality. Whatever you wish. We take care that our offering is also up to date in terms of papers and our services. With these tools on your pocket, you can speed up your journey to reach the right customer base and profitable print shops. This brings us to the next station and to sheet-fed inkjet. My colleague Thomas will be your train conductor for the next leg.
Okay, well, thank you, Lisa. So mind the gap. We are leaving the station and heading to the next station, which is something about sheet-fed productions. And as you all know, high-speed inkjet success story started with the development of the reel-fed machines, but we see a trend for the last 2.5, 3 years that those sheet-fed machines are coming up more and more and conquering the print rooms. And there are some understandable reasons for this. As high-speed inkjet volumes are not coming from new applications, but is also aiming on shifting productions from offset to high-speed inkjet to allow higher flexibility and to produce lower print runs, more economical. Sheet-fed offset printers are welcoming a high-speed inkjet sheet-fed machine technology because it empowers them to work with their existing sheets and formats and papers they have in stock and they are familiar with. Additionally, those printers then can use their existing workflows and finishing lines they already have in place and don't have any additional high investments to take in order to plug and play with a sheet fed machine in their existing environment. For printers who already have a high-speed reel-fed production in place, a sheet-fed machine could be a great addition for cost-effective productions of reprints or short-run projects or applications which haven't been useful or makeable, feasible with a reel-fed machine. Finally, let's have a look on those red bubbles down there on the side. If you look on how, for example, book got produced digitally in the past, it was mainly toner. And in 2017, some 4 years ago, the break-even point, or where it's really not competitive any longer, was at 400 books. Now in 2018, it was 1,000 books, and this number is growing step by step, year by year, because technology is getting better. So therefore, we are closing the gap in the productivity side. And that brings me to the next slide, where I want to have a closer look on the productivity of those machines. If you have a look on the right side, where the graph, you see we started with digital printing with toner and cut sheet devices with a low acquisition costs and certainly a low running speed in there. Then there was a big jump when we established the continuous feed inkjet machines in here with a high speed, very cost efficient, low running costs in there. But there was a gap in between. So the medium range was not covered ideally, and that is the sweet spot where those high-speed inkjet sheet-fed machines are now positioned. They offer a high productivity on various substrates, and they're supporting a wide range of applications, which was at toner or was at was too low for high-speed inkjet. So if you look on the productivity side, a sample here from an i300 where we have an uptime 90%, something like that equals a print of 400,000 A4 images a day. And that is something which is interesting, because at the end, if you equal that with applications, we are talking about 2,000 books a day, 4,000 magazines or brochures or marketing communication. And those are the applications which are really fitting into that area. So high-speed inkjet sheet-fed machines, interesting point. Let's see what kind of machines are out there currently and which way we are facing. But before I want to go into more detail here, I just wanted to share with you how Mondi is cooperating with the OEMs. Brod and Lisa already mentioned it in before we started the presentations. Mondi has installed an active working relationship with all of those players. And that includes heavily extensive testing of our papers, benchmarking processes, and also a very close cooperation with those OEMs, because they are developing new things and they want to see if that development works on papers and at the end how the quality will look like. And we are quite active in here, and this open mind cooperation we have with those OEMs empowers Mondi to be on top of the developments in terms of new inks, in terms of new drying units, and to see if we have to adapt our papers or not. And that makes us, puts us in the position to identify the best paper for each machine and application, which we then could recommend to our customers. So if you look on the machines itself, so certainly we have perhaps the market leading machine, the i300 series of Canon. Interesting features here is the inline primering unit for sure, which allows to print on nearly any stock, perhaps with some disadvantages in terms of speed, in terms of quality, and also in total cost of ownership. The other thing, three I've listed here, Xerox, Kyocera, Riso, are coming not with a primering unit inline, and they have different features in terms of sizes. And I think if you've been part of the presentation yesterday from Kyocera, I think it was a quite crowded event yesterday with a lot of people in there. You see that this is a quite interesting machine. It's modular based, and it's interesting because the initial investment is not too high. And on the right side, we have a kind of, let's put it, exotic OEM here, Riso, more aimed into the office environment. And they are coming with a special ink type, which is oil-based, which is certainly giving us some more challenges to have a paper and capable of working with an oil-based ink. But that wouldn't be a Mondi presentation if you don't have a paper for that as well. So here, our NF and DNS Premium is certified and works brilliantly with those Riso machines. And that brings me to an overview on our sheet-fed portfolio, similar to the one you already saw for reels. We do have our hybrid papers at the bottom down here, where we are certainly looking into trans-promo, transaction printing, black and white printing, where we have our DNS Premium here, where we also have recycling papers in here. And down at the bottom, I just want to highlight once again our Biotop 3 and our Pergraphica coming with an ivory shade and a higher bulk, certainly also quite suitable for book publishing, book productions, which is also a development or strong trend. We see that inkjet technology is getting more and more into that area as well. So on top of that, we have once again our treated papers, the coated feel and natural feel DNS, but also here a specialized high white recycling paper, our Nautilus Super White, where we also see a strong trend currently with the end customers to go into more sustainable productions and to have a closer look on the recycling papers as well. And you can see here that we are supporting it from cut size to SRA3 to folio. And also on top, we have our pigmented Neujet family again, topped with our color copy jet we launched last year for high-speed inkjet, where we also are going up to a 300 GSM paper, which is also certified to go through the I300, which is aiming for photo book applications, for brochures and flyers, for postcard applications. So a big variety, for all those cut sheets and cut sheets as well. So as the reels, all our papers coming with FSC or PFC or eco-label, but that's a given thing. But we also see that it's very important for end customers to have a look on that. But now it's enough from my side. I just want to introduce you to another customer of us, Lukas Hahn from Farm and Home Publishers, also in the US. He's using our high-speed inkjet NF in 60 GSM, which is a quite not so easy weight and substrate to go through a sheet-fed press. But let's listen to him, what he's saying about our qualities and why he's using Mondi.
Yeah. Honestly, and then with Mondi, as far as a partner with Mondi, we our booklets require a lot of the capability to write on the paper within the books. People that use our publication need to write on the paper, so an uncoated sheet of paper was something that we had to have. And also with our advertisements in the book, we also do have gloss in our book and some different finishes in paper. So we had different multimedias that were in our paper or in our book that we had to present, but the main bulk of our product is an uncoated sheet. And what we found after playing around with a few different options was that the Mondi paper was a great option for us to go with. And that was what you're seeing there, the DNS natural feel. We use a 40-pound text weight, 60 GSM, 17 by 11 sheet. That's what we're using today. And we've had great results with it. So we're pretty excited by that. As far as why FHP selected Mondi, some of the things that we experienced with the paper when we were testing it, obviously it was the exceptional results in the print quality, the color gamut, and opacity that we had with that paper. At that weight of paper that we were using, there weren't a lot of options, but the Mondi paper, that natural feel paper, was one that definitely blew away anything else that we were using. And in results, color gamut, the runnability with the fewer rejections that we got with it, the ability to get the paper on demand and getting it when we needed it, and working with them, and the customer service has been nothing but exceptional up to this point. So we're very excited by that. And I know one of the big things that in the sheet fed environment, especially with the i300s, what we're using is rejection of papers. I mean, any kind of folds in that paper or any kind of creases, those machines will reject that. And so you have to have a partner when it comes to the media that you're using that is shipping that product and puts a little extra care into how they ship it. And that was a huge component of what Mondi was doing in that process. They took a lot of extra steps in how they shipped that paper. So far less waste of paper. And so we were very excited by that, because that was definitely something we experienced with some other manufacturers that we did not with Mondi. They took some extra steps to ensure that the paper quality showed up and was in print quality shape. So we were pretty excited by that. So.
Yeah, so thank you, Lucas, for that. That brings me to the station, and we are heading to arrival platform, and therefore, once again, I will head back to Brot, who will wrap up what you just heard.
Thanks, Thomas. Thanks for that. Also, thanks, Lisa, for your slides. I always find them interesting, and I work for the company, so hopefully everybody else did. I think where we are here, I think we've spoken about the train journey, but it is a journey really, and it's not only which machine and what level of ink that you choose to work with, but it's also having the correct paper to maximize your investment. Really, it's a big investment on that piece of metal that sits on the floor, and maximizing that investment needs to be looked at. So what can we take away from this? And I'm not going to read down all these because you can read them yourself. But what I see is we are global, and therefore we do have local experts, and they really do talk your language because they live and work in the country that you're based in. So they are very much talking your language. Financially, we touched on how robust Mondi is, and I think that's, we're in the business for the long haul. We're not here for a week or a year. We've gone through COVID exceptionally well and very strong, and we're here for the long term. The portfolio, I think we can satisfy most, if not all, of the uncoated requirements that anybody would have. We've talked about experience. The three people that are sitting talking to you today, myself, Lisa and Thomas, I think we've got something like 80 plus years in this industry. So feel free to use it, because we're happy to share it with you, even if it's just some information that you want. That's what it is, and that's what it is. So happy to do that. Cutting edge, Lisa talked about ink paper press combination. It's the most important thing. Don't miss one of those things out, whichever one. But ink paper and press is a combination that we work on the OEMs with. And probably more importantly, we're happy to help you achieve the best results for you and your customer. Really, that's what we're here for. So if you're interested, Lisa spoke about the sustainability white paper, which you can get access to on the slide. Just put your phone over the QR code and you can download it straight away. It's free, so if you're interested in sustainability, take it from there. If not, then you can send us an email, or if you like the old-fashioned method of picking up the phone and talking to somebody, then there's a phone number for everybody as well. Pick up the phone, give us a call. We're happy to talk to you. More than happy. Thanks for joining us.
What a fantastic presentation here, guys. By far the best I've seen so far. So unfortunately, we are limited to see it now, but as I said before, we will make sure that it gets spread out everywhere. One thing I can't help think about, because I really like also the slide in the end where you have the sustainability and you have the contact things. For the people that, maybe I'm wrong, but I take that Mondi actually distribute paper a little bit different than some of your competitors, right? I mean, you have a direct sales organization globally, right?
We do have a direct sales globally. We have two ways to market, actually, Morten. So we're quite happy to talk directly to the customer. We're also happy to support the paper merchant in a country where the printer needs a slightly different service level. I see that Ben was on from the UK.
I saw him too, yeah.
and Ben's a paper merchant in the UK that we put paper through in the UK, but we also have a direct approach. It's very open, it's very transparent, the way that we do our business. I think that's what people like about us. So, and we're also happy to go in with the paper merchant and support them. We don't leave them on their own. We don't walk down the path and loose the hand halfway down the footpath. We go with them. We support them indirectly or directly. So whichever way you want to buy paper, we're trying to make it easy for people.
Wonderful. I couldn't help think either about the last showcase. I was just thinking when you said 60 GSM on a water-based inkjet device, I was like, are you kidding me? But your customer, he was very confident that it was the right option for his machines, right?
Absolutely, and it works.
Which is great.
Yeah, and we have actually as low as 50 GSM. We have new opaque papers, 45, 50, 40. So,
in sheets?
As well.
In sheets as well. But the main applications are reels.
Of course.
So
yeah.
I'm going to ask a question, which again, it's not directed at you as a negative, but at the industry as such, because I work a lot in emerging geographies. And when somebody gets an inkjet press, it's, okay, so now what papers, and maybe they've got a list of 1 or 2 that they've tried as part of the test sample. There's a lot of, to me, still opportunity. And is it a vendor? Is it the actual OEM, or is this the paper guys that need to do more to get to whoever that prospect or that person that just bought the press? Because he's buying a press and he's got his press and he's got a paper that he's going to use. Now he's looking at new applications. And the first thing he hears is, well, you're going to have to buy reams of paper and test it and run those samples. Now, I mean, we talk about reams, a big roll-fed paper. It's not cheap, and he's going to have to buy loads of it just to do some testing. But to me, surely for all these emerging geographies, which is a huge market for you guys, you know that, I mean, you've got production facilities everywhere, but the message is not getting down the line. And what I'm saying is there's a lot of inkjets not new. There are sites everywhere that are using your substrates in all kinds of applications. How do we get that messaging to people that are starting out and are starting those applications where actually we got a customer using this? Are you guys hands-on where every time there's an installation, you know what, these are your contacts at Mondi, these are the people to speak to? There's just such a misfit. And to me, it's such a great opportunity. I think, Thomas, you know, because I give you quite a few phone calls and I say, so-and-so's bought a press. Can you help?
I think, to be honest, Jean, I think it's we have a very extensive market mapping. So everybody across the globe has their own contacts, people that they've worked with, they trust, and they get tipped off, let's say, of equipment that's going in. And we have a very extensive market mapping, enviable for a lot of the OEMs, to be honest, where we know where most, if not all, the kit is going into. And we pride ourselves on making contact with those. And we're pretty comfortable in as much that if we're in there early with an early adopter, then Mondi paper tends to sit on the machine. We find a way with the support. It's not just about a price of the paper. It's the whole support network. Lisa talked about colour management. We talk about research and development. We do pre-testing of products and benchmarking of products and ICC profiles, which we're happy to share and give to people to load on their equipment. So it's not about we're €5 more expensive or cheaper than the next guy. You know, we've got a bigger offer to the customer obviously, when it comes to OEM, let's be honest here, they want to be able to say that their machine can run every paper. So I understand it's difficult for them to focus on one manufacturer and say, hey, you really need to be speaking to Mondi, because whilst it might be the best solution, they've also got 5,000 other medias that they've tested. And so they say, well, there's the list. So you pick what you want. And for them to have all those medias on the list says that why not buy their equipment? Because you can run anything. So it's easy to work with. So I get their stance on it. But at some point, you've got to pick a side.
But sorry to interrupt you, Brock. But
the way it is.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt you, but I was just thinking that the fact that we reach out to quite a few paper suppliers for this event, of course, you can say that the event is good or bad or badly marketed or whatever. But regardless, I think that showcases that you are a mover into a new market space where some may not be. And I also think that your presentations gives a lot of KPIs why you should work with Mondi rather than working with anybody, right? So I think that maybe that elevates, not from here, but it elevates the approach to the buyers of the machines. Basically, that okay, choose a partner like you choose a vendor for your machine, somebody you can rely on, somebody who will develop together with you, someone that will be standing next to you also when you have problems with, because you will have problems eventually at some point, right?
Always.
And I think that maybe that is a very good takeaway, because I couldn't remember help also referring to we did interviews with two of your colleagues, Gunilla Saltin and also Bernard Kanzler. In a previous over the Skype interviews, and I think that when you listen to these conversations, also it gives a really great overview of the dedication of the Mondi team, and that is what I really like also about this presentation, how you prepared yourself, and I think it was wonderful, guys. Good work.
No, thank you, Morten. And look, we're not scared. We're not scared to put ourselves out there and be shot at. Do we get it right all the time? Probably not, and we're big enough and ugly enough to admit that. But when you want to go to somewhere which is going to be with you long term, who's got quality, financial support, robustness, great people, great knowledge, then if you're picking two people to talk to, one of them has to be Mondi.
Of course,
pick who you want for the other one, but one of them has to be Mondi. Whether I work here or not, they have an offer which goes back years and will be there in years to come.
Actually, my colleague Bjorn from English Sweden, he used to work with Antalis. He has a great question here. There are still too many printers who look at the price of paper instead of what you can get in less hassle and better print results. But it is strange when they have bought a machine for several x euro, then you have the discussion about the price, just as you said before.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So, and I think that Bjorn is actually one of the guys I know from when he was working also with Antalis, where Antalis is maybe one of the merchants that also have people investing in digital skills and digital, because I mean the diversity of paper is so amazing that sometimes it's also a matter of letting the PSPs and the end customers know all the opportunities in the market, right?
Morten, the machine is a one-off purchase. You're going to buy paper every day.
Mm-hmm.
Precisely, yeah.
Get it right.
Yeah.
Jesus, how difficult can it be?
You talk about, I know here's a substrate, here's what it's called. Is across all the vendors that you've got worldwide, do they call those substrates? Have they got a different name for that? Or have you got a standard worldwide? That's your substrate. That's the name of that particular one. And that's what's out there.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's a Mondi brand. The products that Lisa and Thomas talked about, they're Mondi branded.
Okay.
So DNS high-speed inkjet NF is the same in Australia as it is in the USA.
Okay.
Fantastic. I think that was a good takeaway. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for your time here. It's up now. I want to thank you very much for your participation. It's wonderful to meet paper people on Inkish. I love it. And I will write to Sarah and to all the nice people, because I want to give you an offer where we are not charging anything except travel expenses to go and film from your mill if you're interested.
This was a very public offer. For me to come to the mill. Open
that could be fun. That could be fun. Well, thank you very much, and I hope to see you soon.
Okay.
Will do.
Thank you.
Thank you both.
Bye.
Thanks, Lisa. Thanks, Thomas. Bye-bye.